Hey, it's Heidi Rain. Welcome home. I'm glad you're here. I have such a great question today. Why do addicts and alcoholics cheat? Now, this question was brought in to me through one of our listeners who, and by the way, thank you so much for all of your emails talking about how this podcast and the YouTube is really helping you make some really tough decisions in your life and make some big changes to restore peace and sanity into your family. And I'm so proud of you. And I just want to take a minute and say thank you so much for all these wonderful emails. Even though I don't always get back right away, I am reading them. I am getting through them. So just know that I appreciate them immensely, even if you don't hear right back from me. Okay. So one of these emails that came in was from a woman who had to make a really tough decision. She was in this relationship, it was not working out. She had tried absolutely everything. And after listening and watching episodes, she came to the conclusion things are likely not going to change. So she got out, and that's a wonderful thing. And I think a lot of times when people get out of things, they think, oh God, thank God now I can get on with my life. Thank God that's over. I'll start feeling better and be more myself again. But usually what happens is when you're inside of that relationship, you are in crisis mode, you are in survival mode. You can't even stop long enough to feel or think about how you feel because you're on to the next crisis or averting the next problem. And so once you get out, that's when you're like settled in enough to start to think about the damage and the shrapnel, I call it, that's been done to you in the course of this relationship. And this woman, as you can imagine, was left with a lot of questions. And one of the questions that she asked that she's grappling with, trying to understand is why did he cheat? Now, from a logical standpoint, I want to tell you that, you know, addiction makes you do crazy things. I'm sure that people that are in addiction can agree the things they've done in their addiction are things they never thought they would do, like lose their children, like drive drunk with their kids, like cheat on their spouse. There are lots of things that happen in addiction that cross the line, the moral or ethical line of people thought they would never do in a million years. And why is that? Well, the part of your brain that's the brakes, that's the neocortex, that's the thinking part of your brain, the front part of your brain. So if I'm going to do a little analogy for you here, Dr. Dan Siegel, I learned this from, is an amazing interpersonal neurobiologist, and he describes the brain this way. So if you're listening to the podcast, I'm going to do my best to show you what I'm doing with my hands right now through my words. So I'm taking my hand and I'm making a fist, but before I do, I'm putting my thumb in between my hand and wrapping the top of my hand over my fist so that my thumb is inside of my hand. And if I open up the top part of my hand, I can still see that thumb right in the middle. So here's how it works. The neocortex is the top part of this brain. This is the brakes. And back here is the limbic system and the thumb and the neocortex and the feelings and emotions, or sorry, the reptilian part of the brain and all the limbic system and the feelings and emotions. And in a normal functioning brain, like that's not impaired, all day long, your brakes are being fired off, right? You think to yourself, you're going through traffic and you think, you know what? I could actually rear end this idiot because he doesn't know where he's going. And then your neocortex goes, shh, 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 that's a bad idea because XYZ. All right. Comes over and covers the thought with rational thinking. It uncovers that, it covers up that that impulse that you have with logic. Okay. All day long, we're using the brakes. All day long, we're putting the brakes on. Hey, I want to sit in bed all day and eat French fries and watch bad TV, and I don't want to really do anything. And the neocortex goes, you got a family to take care of. You want to make a difference in this world. You've got things to do. And you don't want to eat that. You'll feel like crap, right? The brakes all day long, brakes. But in an addicted brain over time, the brakes go bad because the part of the brain that's affected is the part that links up control and consequences. So you can look at somebody and you could say, how could you ruin your life? Don't you see what you're doing? Your kids are or crying at night, you're scaring the children, you're driving around drunk, you're hiding out, you went missing for 2 days, you're yelling like a psycho, you're doing all these things and you cheated. Can't you see what you're doing? And legitimately, part of the brain is just checked out to lunch anyway. And what that means is a person can see what they're doing, even they can see what they're doing and do it anyway because the brakes are off. The brakes are broken. And addiction will break the brakes. Okay. Addiction breaks. And what that means is it's go time. And it doesn't matter what it is. And a lot of times without breaks, you'll go a lot farther than you ever thought you would. I hope that analogy helps you. So I want you to think about the brakes being broken. Hey, stop. You're about to do something terrible. We ain't got no brakes. All right. Now, when somebody's in recovery, they've got better breaks. They're working the breaks again. They're trying to figure that out. They're working their way through. They have their breaks again in recovery. But as soon as they introduce that substance back again, because it clouds their judgment, it floods the brain with neurotransmitters of well-being, it dumbs you down, the breaks are gone again. So how important are breaks? The breaks are a difference between a family careening off of a cliff and living happily ever after. That's the difference between good breaks and bad breaks. So why they cheat is because they have absolutely no brakes. They have no inhibition. And by the way, most people in the world are attracted to many people. We're wired for beauty. We are hardwired to see beautiful things and love them and appreciate them. It's not a bad thing or a good thing. It just is the way that it is. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay. And beauty can be found in a lot of weird and strange places. And you could look at somebody and go, she wasn't beautiful. Heidi. All right. She was this girl. She was not, you know, but again, it's beauty in the eye of the beholder. So when somebody's cheating, a lot of the time there's an element of excitement or danger that goes along with that addicted lifestyle, especially if you're thinking if there's sex addiction as a part of this or drug use as a part of this. It's really hard to tell if it was the chicken or the egg. A lot of people think that drugs made them do it, but in fact, they did the drugs so they were more able to do it. So it's very, so then we get into the question of is cheating in their nature or did the alcohol make them cheat? Alcohol takes the brakes off. How far a person will go is kind of how far a person is capable of going. Okay, so even if you never thought, and by the way, everybody's capable of everything. I just want to throw that on the table. Everybody is capable of absolutely everything. We all have this spectrum inside of us of light and dark. We're capable of being good people or bad people if we uh you know if we put the effort in, have like a moral compass, and we effort ourselves, we can try our best to like govern the dark side. But there are people that even with the best therapy governing are going to be a Dahmer no matter what, because their nature is that, period. So a lot of the times when you're dealing with an addict and alcoholic, you're very confused about who the hell this person actually is. And a good indicator is what was their character before the addiction came into play? Who was this person before it got amplified or taken over by this addiction? Did you start with somebody who had a solid moral compass? Did you start with somebody who had a good character? Or did you start with somebody who ended his last relationship by meeting you? Or got out of this other thing with this other person, or has children but doesn't talk to them, or has exes that are all crazy and it can't be him. What is the character of this person? And that's likely not to be blamed on the alcohol. That's likely just a pattern that this person engages in. So I guess a better question to ask yourself is why wouldn't an addict or an alcoholic cheat? Because their moral compass is gone. Everything that they thought that they held true has disappeared as far as what their brain is seeking. Their brain is seeking one thing, and they can only get that pleasure or that one thing through the drug or alcohol, not through their family, not through their children, not through their hobbies, not through their job, but just through this drug or alcohol. What if they're willing to like throw all that away at the expense of being able to engage in this behavior? What else are they capable of? And I would say damn near anything. And sometimes you underestimate a person. You underestimate how far they'll go or what I know some people, I would never think, I always think, maybe could be, because honestly, you just never know. But you can have a better idea if you are choosing a partner that has a solid moral compass in the first place. Okay. Good character, solid moral compass. Now, moving on. Here's a better question. I can scratch my head all day long and I can go, why did they cheat? Why did they leave me? Why? What was it? What was she had that I didn't have? Why was she better than me? A better question is, why are you in a relationship where you have to prove your value over and over and over again, where you have to compete and compare yourself to other people to try to understand what's wrong with you in relationship to somebody else who is being intimate with your partner. That is the bigger issue. And I know why you do it. It's not your fault. Okay. That was a little slap. Now we're going to do the soothe. You know me, slap and soothe. Here's the soothe. It's not your fault. When you grew up, likely you grew up in an environment where shit that went down was not okay. People were fighting, people were absent, people were treating you or siblings, or siblings were acting out. Something was going on in a bad way. And instead of just going, hey, man, I'm being treated terribly. This isn't okay. This isn't right. You had to stay there. You were stuck in that house. So, what did you have to do instead? You had to make sense of people's bad behavior instead of getting out of Dodge. So why became your superpower? Well, why did dad do that? Oh, that's because mom did that and then dad did that and then this happened with this. And you become a therapist, you become a psychologist, you become a fixer. You can see why and you get addicted to the why instead of what the instead of being addicted to why people are doing what they're doing, say, what am I no longer willing to tolerate instead? Why am I settling here? So I can help you unravel that. I can help you figure all that out. So when you get underneath the hood, you're not back in a situation again trying to figure out why somebody was so terrible to you. You're saying they were terrible to me. I'm not going to waste another brain cell trying to figure this shit out. Amen. You know what? I know some of you are thinking, "Yeah, Heidi, that's a good perspective, but that's your perspective." Maybe men have different perspectives, like because sometimes they tell me, "You weren't having sex with me." You know, they were an alcoholic, but they say, "Well, you weren't giving me what I need because and that's why I cheated." You know what? Let's just hold on for 1 second. I just called my husband in here. Okay. We're gonna get a male perspective up in his ass. I rang. Hello, how are you? Groovy, you're looking like a cross between Elvis and Iron Man. Some called you the goth Iron Man. Are you goth?
I think so.
I mean, I guess whatever it is, I like it. All right, here's a question. I got a listener that uh, sent an email, and her main question she got out of I don't want to rehash the whole thing, but just quick.
Well,
Okay,
this
she
is
got out of a
necessary
really
information.
bad, yes, it is. She got out of a really bad relationship, but now, and he was an alcoholic. Okay. And now she's wondering to herself, because bad things went down in that relationship, why he cheated. She's fixating on why addicts and alcoholics cheat. So, one of the things that people say is, and when they're addicted, is, well, you weren't meeting my needs. And I had to go get them met somewhere else because your duty is
It's
to
gaslighting.
have, what is it again?
Gaslighting.
You heard it here first, kids. Okay. Can you
Why?
explain why that's a crazy thing to say to a woman? Or is it a crazy thing to say? I mean, you weren't having sex with me, so I had to go have sex with another person.
That's. I mean, we can look at that so many ways. We could unpack that. One of them is it's pouring salt on a wound right there. You're just like already someone's feeling probably obviously horrible and has got all sorts of stories they're telling
So number
themselves.
one, they want to make you feel bad. If a person's saying that to you, their intention is to make you feel like crap. Ding
Right.
ding.
So well, it's not necessarily that they want you to feel like crap as much as they want to not feel as crappy.
Fair.
Kick the kick
Yeah,
the bee's
fair.
nest
Fair,
into
fair,
the
fair.
other yard.
Fair.
Um, and it also it takes like it you have no responsibility. You're trying to take in responsibility off yourself, which then doubly makes that worse for the person who you said that to, and they're already feeling like crap, and now they're going, wait, maybe it was my fault, and they start questioning themselves and
It's
kind of
okay.
going, oh, well, maybe had we, oh, there was that one time, and it's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Why do you think addicts and alcoholics cheat? Do all addicts and alcoholics cheat? Is that like an unfair thing to even say?
Well, I don't know. That would be an unfair assumption
You
on
got to
my
do a
part.
study.
Yeah. However, I would say that people who are mean, if you look at cheating, they're cheating on themselves if they're violating their values in struggling with the addiction in the first place.
But
So
they've already cheated. They've already
it's already gone
cheated
down that path.
themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Because I talked earlier about what I'll ask you, what do you think prevents some, is it natural to be attracted to many people? Do you walk around your day thinking lots of women are sexy?
I-
But a couple,
Two,
5 or 7.
no, no, I don't.
You do.
It's like the sun. You take a glance and you look away.
There are lots of
But that
beautiful.
doesn't mean to be like go notice something attractive doesn't necessarily mean
You have to act on. Right.
attracted
Oh,
necessarily.
that's true too. Okay, so we're all creatures of attraction and beauty. We're hardwired to love beauty,
Yeah,
right? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So you see something beautiful, you look at it, you like it.
I will say they usually look like you. So, just
You find women that look like me.
blonde
Where
and
is that? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm very common. From
no,
everywhere.
no, you're not. It's not.
So, okay, so you look at the woman, you think she's wow, she's really attractive or whatever. Okay. And then you think they look like Heidi, so I can replace her.
No, no, no. I just noticed the patterns of my like.
We all have a type,
Yeah,
maybe. Okay, so all right. So you what do you think, even though we all do this, we all look at people and say, "Oh my God, that's an attractive person," or "Wow, that's a beautiful thing." Um, what prevents you from acting on that and pursuing it?
I mean, to take it down to the absolute basics, I walk by a nice car and I'll go, I'm going to get in and drive. Like, it's just not. It's not appropriate. Like, you don't just.
Okay,
That's
what
not
if it
how the
went to that
world
Uber and you
works.
said, "Can I get in the car? I'd like to drive the car." Okay, so what if the women just fell over and laid down? And you're like,
Yeah, it happens all the time. I
this isn't going well. Okay, what if you didn't have to do any work?
no,
And
I wouldn't. Yeah,
she came on you, she was like, "You are, oh my God, you're everything for me. I need to have a piece of this right now."
I the
What would prevent you?
everything that I would be sacrificing for that. I would be. I mean, everything from my spirituality to our relationship to Ellie to like how just I'm perceived in the world, my friends, the people I hang with, they'd be like, "The
Dude,
hell's wrong with you?"
just screw that one up.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
no.
no, but I like there's nothing that would like it's not even on the I couldn't it's
Okay, so I want you to hear that. Now, I'm not more special than you. There's nothing different about me than there is about you. You are wonderful. You are perfect. You are a mystery. You are fun. You are brilliant. You are all those things. But what my husband has that the person in your life didn't have is the neocortex. Because what you just heard him do was think through and put the brakes on. Right? He went through, he said, "I don't wanna lose my family, that's a break. I don't wanna lose what I've built, that's a break. I don't wanna lose, my
yeah.
reputation, okay, with my friends. I don't I built that. I don't wanna lose my relationship with God." Okay? Those are breaks, those are consequences, and when you're an addict or an alcoholic, you ain't got no breaks. You ain't got no breaks.
And
I hope this is ringing true. I hope
I,
this analogy, you can drive this all the way home because breaks and driving, we're on fire
well,
today.
I also this may be
A tangent? Not you. No.
squirrel.
No, no,
No,
no, never do that.
it's not a tangent. It's just another thought
Yeah, let's say.
around when someone is active. They're like a toddler,
Yes.
and
Yes.
they just they
Mentally.
yeah. It's like I do what I want. Like that's what Cartman,
Temper
right?
temper
It's just yeah,
tantrums.
and it's all about serving our needs at whatever cost. It doesn't matter what impact it has. The world is all about me. It's very,
Narcissistic.
self-centered. And that's in the survival mode of that toddler as well, because like even if you watch kids who are addicted to video games or addicted to whatever, like they don't care about anything else other than that. And to the point where sometimes they don't eat, they don't like they're not even doing basic self-care. Because they're so hyper focused on getting their primal need at that moment.
And all they've trained their brain that
Yeah.
all the dopamine comes from that source, and that's legitimate. That they look at their spouse and they don't get the good feels. They look at their kids and they could get, but they look at the drug of choice, they look at the video game and they think, "Oh my god, yeah, that's my holy grail."
Well, and that's all, porn,
Same.
you just say you like, yeah, all of that.
Have
It
somebody
just becomes
live in front of you, but train your brain that that's where the pleasure lives. And so in order to come out of that, 2 things, you have to retrain the brain. Addiction is a training
mm,
program. Addiction is
so is recovery.
and so is
How were you
recovery.
gonna say that? Did I just steal your thunder?
No, you never no, baby.
Well, I don't know if you were setting that
You
up.
are the thunder.
I know, but I
You
didn't know if
are
you were setting that up and then you're gonna drive it home.
I was
Okay.
gonna say that, we train ourselves into addiction through behavior. Nobody just wakes up an addict or an alcoholic. You might have a propensity to enjoy the thing, the problem it
Or
solves, or
proclivity.
proclivity. But at the end of the day, it's a training. We've trained ourselves into addiction and we got to train ourselves out of it. And having said that, so let's say you look at this person and you say, all right, I know that before they started using drugs or alcohol, they had good breaks. That's what you want to look at. You want to look at, was this a good like vehicle to start?
Yeah. Or
Okay.
were they always
Were they
just
always had shoddy brakes? And then when you fix the brakes, it's like squirk. You know what I mean? You fix the brakes and there's like, and you're like, what the hell, man? I thought I had new brakes. No, you got the old brakes back. Okay. And the old brakes were faulty brakes. Do you want to drive on a cliff in those brakes? I don't think so. All right. So look, losing analogies, just
right.
bam, just boom, just bring it
Yeah,
up.
love the metaphors.
So here's the
Go for some
thing.
meta fives.
Five. So we're so nerdy. Okay, so this is why we found each other. So the other thing is this. Let's say they had great breaks before. They were rooted, solid, good human, firing on all cylinders, went off the rails, but can get back to good breaks. Great. Likely the breaks will be back and they won't cheat. And
And at
they,
first, they'll also be like really edgy.
yeah,
So
and
it's like,
just
whoa, whoa, like,
breaks, right?
yeah,
But the breaks will be back. Now here's the question. You still got ran over. All right. While the brakes were bad, you were the casualty in that, and you got run over. And guess what? You've got some scrapes, some bumps. And can you be put back together? Are you willing to get back in the car and let that person drive again? Are you willing to do that? Can you move past that and put that behind you and learn to trust again this person? That's a bigger question for a lot of people with cheating. And I'd heard that it takes like on average a minimum of 2 years
yeah, I
for
can't.
somebody to like
Yeah, I'm
get on.
sure. I mean, because it's trauma, and all I can think of is like when I drive and you're in the passenger seat. Still,
You're igniting my trauma.
yeah.
Great.
So it's I'm just my point is that in your relationship there'll be times where metaphorically that's what'll happen. You're like, whoa, 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 right? And there's nothing happening, but it's what
It's ringing a
led to,
bell. Right.
yeah, because you're
So
still driving down a road. Then the question is, did you steer off? Did
we're
you,
taking this all the way home. Look, it's a
yeah,
bumpy road. Okay. You're going to be driving a bumpy road. Do you want good brakes?
yeah, program your
You got
GPS.
to program your GPS, which is your internal guidance system. Oh my God. Okay. So I think we've driven that point home.
I don't get
Yay.
it.
Okay. Listen, if you're still confused, okay, I think that the course that we created over on HeidiRain.com, Doug and I actually did that together. It's the family survival toolkit, I think is what we called it for addiction. It has everything you will need to understand what addiction is, what is recovery. And also, if you have somebody in your life who's adverse to recovery, but actually thinking about it, and maybe these are videos you guys can watch together. I have lots of couples with the addict or alcoholic who's a little willing, start to watch this to get their head around recovery. Happens all the time. If you have children over the age of 7, they can watch different parts of this program as well. It'll be totally appropriate for the whole family. No. Just sit there with earplugs in. You can listen to the whole thing now. It's really helpful. If you're on the fence, if you don't know if this person is your person or not, you're like, well, guys, I hear what you're saying, but I don't know how those breaks were before we met, or no idea. I had created a course for you called the Stay or Go course. It's a decision self-study course called Stay or Go. It walks you through my rapid detachment method. Listen, the only way to make a decision is to be detached from the situation, is to come up and get an aerial view, right? It's like, let me come up from air so I can see this thing clearly. Well, I invented a process called the rapid detachment method. It's 7 steps that walks you through how to detach long enough so you can see the forest through the trees and make some decisions in your relationship. And you can use this process again and again. And my clients have told me, I've been doing this for many years, that this is the one thing, one of the many things, but one of the number one things that they've learned throughout the course of our time together that has changed their life forever. So I encourage you to check that out as well. So thank you so much, Doug, for helping us on our
You're welcome.
episode today.
Glad to be of service.
And we appreciate you and we love you so much and hope this has been helpful for you. And if it is, give it a like, leave a comment, help us help more people. Whenever you share it, it helps our message get out and be seen in the world. So love you so much. Take excellent care of yourself. And of course, as for more help, go over to where are they going to go?
HeidiRain.com.
HeidiRain.com. All right. See you later. Bye bye.